Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our assembly this week. I've called our assembly Looking Back and Looking Forward because the photos I'm going to share with you today are of some of the things that people have been doing in their homes or out and about over the past couple of weeks. And we're also looking forward to the time when some of the other classes can return to be with us. This week, all being well, we're hoping to welcome Form 5 and Form 3 to rejoin us, which is great news. Our first picture is of Sophie, and she's made some visors at home with her mum, which they're hoping can be useful to people. Isn't that a great way to spend their time? Our next slide is a video of my parents-in-law, Tabitha's grandparents. They like playing the piano, but during lockdown they decided to try and practice a little bit more and play together. And this is what we call a duet. Here is a short part of this piece, The Arrival of the Queen of Sheba. There are lots of you who have been doing many things. This picture of Evie was taken while she was still in lockdown, and she chose different places in her house, in her garden, to do her learning. This picture I particularly like, of her sitting in her greenhouse with her iPad. I'm sure that many of you will identify with this picture. Here we have Chloe in Form 5, who is standing outside her grandma's house, trying to have a communication time with her. And I'm sure there are lots of you who've had to do this kind of thing, or indeed haven't even been able to see your grandparents. I'm sure you're looking forward to the day when you can again. Some of you are lucky enough to live in the countryside, and here's a great picture of Georgina going for an early morning walk with her mum. Here we have Isabel, who was busy making pancakes in her kitchen. They look scrummy. And here is her sister Lucy, who has been doing what looks like a Snow White puzzle. Very good. Here's a super picture of Christina. She was busy out with her family doing some walking in the Chilterns. Here are two sisters busy exercising. One of the exciting things about the last few weeks has been the chance to do exercise in a different way to normal, or using what you have. And I'm really pleased to see the ingenious way Chloe is doing some jumping. I know that many of you love cooking, and here we have three sisters who've been making some really delicious things. Well done to Thea, Cicely and Bea. Over the last few weeks, artwork has been also a big feature. Here we have some super work by Hannah and Emma. Excellent work, girls. Something that's been so heartwarming has been those of you who have been able to raise money for charity, especially for the NHS or whichever charity is close to your heart. And here we have Jess with her Willing Brothers, who raised £160 on their front drive by having a cake sale. I heard that lots of Form 4 came to join you. I'm so pleased you had a good time. And here we have Heather. Now, I think Heather's been busy planting and having fun in her lovely garden. And here we have a super couple of pictures of her arranging flowers, and the finished result. Super. This is a great photo, and it reminded me of that saying from The Wind in the Willows, where people like messing about in boats. Here we have Betsy, who looks like she's having a thoroughly good time. It looks like the River Thames. I'm sure that others of you have been lucky enough to go on the water, and what a great way to spend your time. Here we have Violet. Violet was fortunate enough to attend a webinar with GB swimmer Georgia Davis and a training session with England netballer Laura Malcolm. She had a great time with both of these famous sports stars. Our next slide is our hymn for today, Abide With Me. This is an incredibly famous hymn. When people are asked what their top 10 hymns would be if they could choose, Abide With Me is usually number one. And it's played at all kinds of occasions, sometimes in services, sometimes at church, and sometimes it's sung at football matches. We're just going to have one verse today, and the player on the French horn is Rupert Johnston, who is the son of David and Jill Johnston, who run Music-Hall in Harpenden. Rupert and his two brothers were all choristers in their youth at King's College, Cambridge, and together with their sister Brittany, all are very successful musicians. And here we have Rupert, who is playing Abide With Me. This is something really exciting that we found in our garden. We've had two sets of birds, some pigeons who have nested in a big bush next to our trampoline, and some tiny thrushes at the bottom of our garden where there's been a slightly broken window in our shed, and the thrushes have made a nest on the shelf next to Ebenezer's Action Men. And here's a tiny video of the little tiny birds, the baby birds, when they were just probably 2 days old, very, very weak. And it was very interesting to see them grow over the next couple of weeks. They've now all flown away.
seen a percussion section have so much fun. That was David Jackson firing the gun, Steve Henderson smashing most of the crockery, and now chasing each other off stage. That was Scott Bradley's music for Tom and Jerry.